One of the first symptoms is unstable interpersonal relationships. And they're unstable because people with borderline personality disorder think of people in either all good or all bad ways. For instance, if you were my therapist, if things are going particularly well that week for a person with borderline personality disorder, they may think that you're the greatest thing on earth, that you're doing an excellent job, you've really helped me out a lot, and just kind of put you in almost in really high terms, almost too high, unrealistic way of looking at someone. And then the following week, they may say, because maybe you didn't return my phone call, or maybe you're going on vacation or so forth, they may think that all of a sudden the therapist is really bad. You're horrible, you're terrible, and I'm leaving therapy, I'm quitting. That's one of the first ones. It's kind of intense, swings of the way of looking at people, and they're all good or all bad. Actually, Dr. Another one is a fear of abandonment. Have you ever seen the movie Fatal Attraction?
Yes, yes.
Well, in that movie, Glenn Close, at one point when she's in the apartment with Michael Douglas, he acts as if he's going to leave, and she says, "Don't leave me." You can really see the fear in her face, And another point, she even said, I think in the movie, "I don't know what I've done if you didn't come back." So we can really see that fear of abandonment, and it's just not being comfortable with that, having someone around at all times. Yeah, another one is a chronic feeling of emptiness, and one of the videos by Dr. John Gunnarsson back in 1988 talking about borderline personality disorder, they had one clip of a young woman talking about how she felt. She kind of even said, "I felt empty, empty, empty when other people aren't around me, and when they leave, they take their insideness and their good things with them, and I feel alone." And I can understand why that happens. So I think a good way to kind of understanding this is their idea of self, their idea of who they are. If you think of it as an equation, equals you plus me. Your main idea of who you are is just for yourself. You have a comfortable feeling of who you are, but they need to have someone else around them at all times to feel whole. And once you leave that other person, they don't feel whole again. That's why you can see maybe how they have fears of abandonment.
Sure, that's got to feel very uncomfortable for them.
Yes, it does. It's extremely uncomfortable for these people to constantly have to have others around to feel good about themselves. Another one is intense anger, intense inappropriate anger. One example of this could be, I was reading about in a book today about a patient who she came home to her sister's home because the 12-year-old babysitter couldn't manage their child. It was a 2-year-old child. So she came home to kind of rescue the situation, fed the baby and so forth, calmed her down. When her sister came home, the one with borderline personality disorder came home, they ended up the one sister ended up saying, "Where were you? You need to care for your child." All of a sudden, out of nowhere, she kind of blew up, kind of like a spontaneous combustion, and said, "Get out of my house!" Even after her sister kind of came to her, to help out with the situation. So it kind of came out of nowhere. There's another one is intense anger out of nowhere. Another one could be an impulsivity, like life-threatening impulsivity, and that could be in areas such as sexual promiscuity. It could be using drugs and alcohol, like maybe overdosing or so forth. Could be reckless driving. Could be, and also with eating as well, and binge eating, where they eat a lot, and then they kind of throw themselves, and then they throw it all up and so forth. So that's another characteristic.
It's got to be very difficult to experience, impulsivity and high emotional intensity both at the same time. I imagine you can put yourself in quite dangerous situations by having those two various combinations of disorder symptoms.
Right, exactly. And what I'm trying to get across here is, and you're getting it, is that as we can see with all these symptoms, it's really intense. It's a lot of intense behaviors and emotions all at the same time. And you're right, it can be really uncomfortable to have both of these going on at the same time.